Hello, I'm Rex Childhouse. I got exposed to 3D printing in August of 2021. This is November 2021 at the San Diego Fine Woodworkers Workshop with Travis Good as the instructor. I'd seen it when I took a workshop there on CNC routing, and I thought it was really cool. Finally got back to it and said, this is like kind of cool. Shortly after taking the course, I purchased the Prusa i3 Mk3S Plus printer. Totally love it. It's a great printer. I have a lot of fun with it. My wife keeps it busy. I keep it busy, however you want to define it. We've been doing a lot of prints, and it's really fun. Shortly after we purchased it and started using it as a single filament printer, I upgraded it to the Prusa MMU2S, which is the multi-material unit, and fought that for a couple of months. Finally sent it back to Prusa and asked for a refund, and it took them like 17 days once they got the MMU back to actually issue the refund. So the question comes up, with a single filament printer, exactly what can you do? And here's a couple of examples of what I did. I printed this all in blue and then hand painted it in gold, and it came out pretty nice. Here was another one. It's just a little different color gold, but it's kind of it's meticulous, and if you were to look at it, you'd see inside the fine areas where things are missed. So I started playing with the Prusa slicer and started learning Prusa slicer things, and it turns out that you can do multi-filament prints in Prusa slicer through Prusa slicer. And here's some columns, and I'm going to take you into detail on these and how to do this. And there's really some neat information about how these are going to work in Prusa slicer. And a couple of people have emailed me and asked, can I show them a little more information? So I'm going to. Here's Prusa's sample whistle. Joseph Prusa's got his initials on it. That's okay. Printed in 2 filaments. I was just doing it for a demonstration. So let's move over to Thingiverse, Prusa slicer, and to the printer itself, and show you in detail how this works. It's really simple, and it's a lot of fun. So we're going to go over to, or I'm going to go over to Thingiverse, and you can search for just about anything in Thingiverse, Thingiverse.com. See it right after the MakerBot. The number that I'm after is 2769270. When you enter that, it comes up with these rock columns for Gloomhaven. And if you click on that, it brings you up to more information. And if you click on download all files, it'll download a zip file to wherever your system tells you to. But the other thing is, and I've been getting a couple of things lately that say you've reached the end of Thingiverse and it won't let me download it. If you click over to Thing Files, it gives you the option of downloading them over here as well. I'm going to go back to download all files because it shows some other things. This is how Thingiverse gets paid. They run advertisements. I'm operating in Windows Edge, so it's automatically saving it off to the directory that I've got set up for it, and I'm going to click over there right now. Download holder. It comes in as a zip file. I'm going to double click it, and I'm going to extract it back to the same directory that it downloaded to, my download file. And now it opens it up. The README file has got some information, not much in this one here. It says it's created by John True and Roblia True, whoever. The license file says John True, Roblia, whatever file as well. And when you click on images, this one here has got a lot of images inside of it. And not all of them will have a whole lot of images. A couple of files I've downloaded have had no images. This one here has got quite a few. It's interesting, wonder what the game is from. When you click on files, there's only one file, STL file, which will go into Prusa slicer. There's only one file in this directory. In the Watch Escapement Desk Toy, there were 20 files. I downloaded another one that had 60 plus files. It was on how to do a steam locomotive. When I installed Prusa Slicer, one of the things I told it to do was associate STL files with it, so when I double click on an STL file, it opens up Prusa Slicer. So I'm going to double click my STL file, and it comes up on the bed. Now, if you're new, and I assume you aren't, but I'm going to do it anyways, I'm going to go under File, New Project, and that's going to wipe this out once I say yep, go for it. And I'm going to select File, Import STL. Prusa Slicer has a memory. I'm not quite sure how it works all the time, because sometimes it has me confused. Now you'd have to go to the directory you wanted and open and find the item you want. If you hold your left mouse button down, you can move the bed around, have all sorts of fun with it, try to get it so you want it. I kind of want a preview of profile view of this guy here. And if we look over here on the right hand side, the scale factors, they're locked in right now. I don't want this guy to be this big. I want this as a test piece. I'm going to enter 25 and hit enter, and everything goes to 25%. Now he's awful small, so I'm going to roll my mouse button, make him a little bit bigger, and I'm going to use this guy up here, and I'm going to move him a little bit more towards where I want to see him. Okay. Right now we are in the editor view mode, and that's the left hand block, lower left corner, left hand block. And if we click what I'm going to call, well, they call it preview, I'm going to call it layer. Then we turn around and we see something else here, and because I have in my right hand side, I have infills at 15%, so it's not going to be a solid item, and I have brim selected, and I have supports everywhere. Because of the supports everywhere, we get these additional pieces added in so that the piece has some stability while it's being printed. Over here it says estimated print time is 10 minutes. Okay, that's a pretty good estimate. So what we want to do is we want to print this in 5 colors as an example. And what we're going to do is come up to the top of this line over here, and it reads 14. So that means just under 3 minutes, 3 units for each print. So we're going to come down to, say, 2.95, and we click on the plus. Now we have 2 different colors here, and it tells us we're going to print in 2 different colors. Come back up to the top. We want to be just under 6, so we'll pick there. Again, hit the X, hit the plus, and then bring it down to about let's see, 9, well, yeah, there, and hit plus, and if you hit the X, it'll take it out, and it has some fun. Okay, so back up to the top, and we'll bring this guy in, and we'll bring that guy in. Okay, so right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, we actually have 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 colors set up on this guy, and that's how he's going to print. Now, the printer doesn't know what the color filament is, so I made myself a little panel when I had the MMU to tell me what order filament's in. So I want to do this guy in red, white, blue, black, and then silver, and we're going to have some fun with him. And what I want to do now is I want to slice this guy, and at that point we're going to see some really fun information. So if we go over and look at this guy, in this area, the column upper left screen, this is from the top down. When we look at this, this is from the bottom up, so consistency. Why is the first layer 4 minutes? Because we've got brim on here, and then we go to 2 minutes, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 2 minutes. And Prusa Slicer doesn't record in seconds, so those are pretty good estimates, but it gives you an idea when you're going to do a filament change. You got about 4 minutes of print time before the first one, then about 2 minutes after the first one for the second, then 1 minute for the next one, and so on. So Prusa Slicer gives you a whole lot of information. With that, we are going to click Export Gcode, and we're going to save the Gcode off as the default, and I might want to put in here 5 filaments. 5 fill dash. so that I know it's a 5-filament print, because otherwise it won't tell me. And now what we're going to do is we're going to copy that. I saved all these to my hard drive. Then we're going to copy it to the SD card. At this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back in here and I'm going to save it as a project. And as a project, I'm going to add a date to it, -2021-11-29, so I know when I did it, and then I'm going to save it as a dated file. And from this point, we're going to go over to the printer. So the Prusa printer is turned on. While we're deciding what we want to do here, I'm going to grab a paper towel, piece of paper towel. A number of people have been doing cleaning their hotbeds with numerous other things. Turns out that our toilet paper, which is a good material for it, is scented, which means there's some sort of foreign material imposed on it. I've been finding out that it seems to interfere. So I just cleaned the bed right now with unscented paper towel and isopropyl alcohol. Isopropyl alcohol is probably best recommended, and not rubbing alcohol. Rubbing alcohol has oils in it. So the bed's now been cleaned. We can hit OK, come back and print from SD card, and Prusa sorts the printer sorts it by the newest file is going to be on top. Press OK, and now we're going to come up to temperatures, and what's being displayed is the nozzle is coming up to 215 degrees. Right now it's at 165 and increasing. The bed is going to come up to 60 degrees Celsius. Right now it's at 40 degrees. It'll be increasing. The bed is the textured bed. You have a textured or a smooth bed, and you can select that. And it says that the print time is estimated to be 10 minutes, and the R means remaining, and we're heating the bed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the print, stop the video at this time, and as things happen with the printer, I'll be turning it on and off so that we see what's happening, but we don't have a lot of print time to interfere with it. So we've come up to temperature. Now the system's just got to tell itself, hey, time to do something, and now it's going to check 9 points. It's going to check 9 points for its own alignment. And it's coming back, and because we have no filament installed at this time, it's going to come over here and it's going to go through a standard set of protocols here. And it says press the knob to unload the filament, which we don't have. So just press the knob, pull out the filament. There's no filament in it. Press the knob again. Were we successful? Yes, we were, because there was nothing there. Press it. Now insert the new filament into the top, push it down just as far as you can, push the button again, and let the system work. And what's going to happen is it's going to purge the extruder, and we're going to see stuff come out the bottom. I don't see it, so I'm going to come back down here. I'm going to select no, did not load, and now we're getting it. Okay. So when it comes back this time, it says, did you get it? The answer is yes, we did. Okay, now I don't like it to drag, so I'm going to grab it with my pliers. I'm going to pull it, and that's an example of out of focus. That's an example of the strands that are coming in. So it lays down its test strip, and then it starts to print. And the display is telling us we have 10 minutes to go. When we're looking at the other display and slicer, and it said 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute. It doesn't cut it down into seconds, so those are probably close to 2-minute increments. And what's happening down here is it's telling us 10 minutes remaining, so at about 9 minutes remaining, I'm going to come back on the video and we'll see what we get. As we're printing the first color, which is red, and as I said, I use this guy here to keep my colors in order. I loaded the next filament color into the holder, and one of the tips that somebody said was take one of those hexagon holes and use it as your filament holder while you're prepping to do these types of changes. So the system has said it's time to change the filament. I'm going to leave it on the screen. It says press the knob to unload the filament. Pull the filament out. I did stick it in one of those hexagonal holes because you do not want it to roll back into the spool. Did it unload? Yes. Insert the new filament. Push it down as far as you can. And what it's going to do in this mode, single filament driver, is it's going to purge itself. Grab that little guy so it's not pulled into the print. Did it load correctly? Yes. And now it's going to run off and start the second layer. And if you saw it, there's a hair underneath it, which is kind of annoying. So now we're working on the white. I can take the red off the top, cut it at a 45, stick it back through one of the holes on the side of the spool so it's ready to print next, and my next color is blue. So we're coming up to our second one. It says press the knob to unload. I'm going to press the knob, then it tells us to pull the filament out, pull it out, stick it into one of those hexagonal holes, grab my second filament, stick it in the top, stick it in the top. Was it successful? Yes. Insert the filament, push the button, and then we watch underneath, and we should get blue filament. We're getting blue filament. It's saying, did we do it correctly? Yes, we did. So I grab it with long nose pliers, throw it off on the side, and we're now printing with the second filament, with the third filament. We've got red down, we got white down, we're printing in blue. Time to get the black ready. So right now the black is preloaded. The strand is easy access, stuck in one of those hexagonal holes. One of the things I've been doing is I've been drilling holes in the side of my spools. So it's telling us time to reload the filaments. Press the knob to unload, pull the filament out, stick it down in that hexagonal hole, push the button. Was it successful? Yes. It wants us to stick the new filament in. So new filament coming in, hit the button, it's feeding. Now it's going to purge the stuff that's in the nozzle, and it blew it, the little fan blew it all the way over. The answer is yes, it changed it. So throw that off on the side, and now we're printing with the black filament, which by our chart, we've got one more to go. Time to prep the silver filament. And it just keeps buzzing, tell you if it's ready. Push the knob, it's going to push it out. It'll tell you to pull it clear. Stick it in one of those hexagonal holes to expedite the process. Pull out the silver, which is really gray. Was it successful? Yes. Insert the filament, push the button, and it's now loading. And it pushes itself out to purge, to clear it. This is actually Prusa gray filament. Was it correct? Did it do it properly? Yes. Push it in again. Grab that to keep it from going in the print. And now we're printing our last color. And at this point, I can get the black back into the dry box. The PLA filament absorbs moisture, so you got to keep a dry box, and you may need a dry box heater to protect your filament. So we're printing our final color right now. As I was saying, PLA filament absorbs moisture. If your first layer has problems adhering to the bed, you get like little blisters in it, whatever else, you may need to dry your filament out. There's a number of ways to do it. If you watch the internet, I bought a heated dry box. Works really well. There's Amazon, there's a number of them out there. And we just completed the print, and I've developed the habit of unloading the filament so I can get it back into the dry box by coming down, selecting unload the filament, push the button, select PLA, then it's going to turn around and walk us through it. It's going to preheat back to 215 and tell us, okay, press the knob, it's going to unload it. And take it off, pull the filament out, and then we are done. And at this point, you can turn the printer off. And I am going to stop the camera. So, here's our little guy that we decided to print here with 5 colors. Try to get him so he's in focus. These little strings are what I missed grabbing with the pliers, so you get to break them off, clean them up a little bit. This is why I grabbed the filament with the pliers. So we printed this little guy. This guy was 10 minutes, and he's got 5 distinct colors in him: red, white, blue, black, silver, or gray correctly. And that's how you print multiple color filaments with a single filament printer, as this one is. Works well, and Prusa Slicer tells you about how long it goes. Remember though, Prusa Slicer only records in full minutes, so my guesstimate is where it told us the first layer was 4 minutes was because of the brim, which took a lot of time to print. And after that, these were fractionals of not quite 2 minutes, so it showed them up as 1 minute, and then it completed it. So if you want to know if you can print multiple colors with a single filament printer, yes, it's easy, and Prusa Slicer will actually tell you your timeline to do it.